I got my first shot today, the vaccine, and I feel free. I was in the doctor's office for my physical yesterday, annual physical, and he said, "You want a shot?" Illinois just expanded the criterion. So I said, "Sure." He said, "Come tomorrow." Gave me a time. I showed up, got the first shot, and here's my passport card. And now I'm free, or almost free, until the next shot. Then I'll be 95% good. Can't believe the feeling of exhilaration and safety in getting it. I know some of you are anti-vaxxers, but I just want you to think about this. Farrakhan is an anti-vaxxer, and the state of Israel is the number one country in the world in vaccinating their population. So you decide. Do you think Farrakhan's right or the state of Israel is right? And I was thinking about safety and how important safety is. You know, I've been very good for the whole year, I think. Very careful about services, get groceries delivered, masks. I even have goggles that I wear, gloves. And so far escaped for the year without, as far as I know, having the virus. And I was thinking about safety in so many ways, things we do, guns to protect ourselves, seat belts. And my passport expired, or was going to expire this year, and I wanted to be able to travel internationally. So I sent my passport in. Right now I don't have it. I'm waiting to get it back. And that's a feeling of insecurity a little bit. Not that I ever needed it in an emergency, but you never know, especially as a Jew. As Tevye said, why do Jews have hats? Because you never know when you got to leave. And so we worry about safety a lot. Now there's this rash of carjacking in Chicago. You got to be extra aware of where you go. Think about mezuzahs we have on our doors. And see this little thing inside? That's the cloth. The piece of paper with the Shema and the mitzvah of mezuzah on it. And you see on the back of the cloth, it has the Hebrew letters Shaddai, which is one of the names of God. And it is an acronym, the rabbi said, for Shomer Daltot Yisrael, the guardians of the house of Israel. Of course, the main reason of the Shema is to be assigned to God, but feel a little more secure as a Jew with the mezuzah on the door as an extra sense of protection. And I know in ancient times, people put things on their doors as amulets. Think about the story of Passover with the blood on the door so the angel of death would pass over. And it's fascinating to me that this happened today, to me, on the same Shabbos as we read the portion of the red heifer. Now, the Bible, the Torah, has lots of different kinds of ways in which you became impure. One of them was menstruation. And George Foot Moore, who is the preeminent historian of religion in the 1920s at Harvard, talked about how every ancient Near Eastern culture had a blood taboo. And the Torah's blood taboo was menstruation. And one of the ideas there is that, of course, menstruation means that there's a possible life that could have been that didn't come to be, and that should be mourned. And there's a simple way to remedy that blood taboo in Jewish tradition. There's lots of Orthodox and some conservative women who go to the mikvah every month after their period to recognize this moment. There's other kinds of impurities like tsarat, which is translated usually as leprosy, but was some kind of skin disease. And you had to actually get a passport to re-enter the community. You were put on the outside of the community. You had to go to a priest, a Kohen, to check your skin to make sure you were able to go back. Now, the red heifer deals with something else. And the reason why this week we have the portion of the red heifer is it's a few weeks before Passover. And in order to be spiritually pure for the Passover Seder, you had to participate in this ritual of the red heifer. Now, we haven't done it for 2,000 years since the temple was destroyed, so it's more of a spiritual reminder. But the story of the red heifer is listed in Parshat Chukot in the book of Numbers, which is the maftir tomorrow. That portion says that for similar kinds of biblical impurities, you had to take a pure red heifer, and you had to burn it and take the ashes and make a concoction. And interestingly enough, the doctor who would make the concoction, or the priest, would become defiled making it. It's kind of like the doctors when the virus first hit, who were so scared. In fact, one doctor told me that all the doctors he knew were afraid they were going to die, and the nurses, because they didn't really know the virus in the beginning. But they took all kinds of precautions, and they become heroes in our culture for throwing themselves into danger to take care of people who were sick. Kind of like firemen and policemen running to danger when the rest of us run off. Well, this red heifer, according to the Talmud, was used 9 times in Jewish history, and the 10th time will be when the Messiah comes, when the world will be a better place. I'm thinking like, okay, when everybody gets vaccinated and hopefully we can outfox these variants, it'll be a sense of freedom, not exactly the Messianic era, but where people will be free to go about their business. The Bible says that the Messianic era is when everyone sits under their own vine and fig tree and no one makes them afraid. Well, in a sense, when everybody gets vaccinated and feels free again, to be able to sit and be unafraid of this virus. And so we have the story of the red heifer, an ancient story dealing with ritual impurities, mostly from the contamination of a dead body is what it cured you from. But we have our own impurities all throughout history, and today we have this virus which has shut down society in so many ways, and we now can glimpse the moment when perhaps we'll be free again to travel and to go to restaurants and to live our lives in a way that we haven't been able to for the past year. So the red heifer stands tall in our history as an indication of something that people have always had to worry about, how to increase our safety, how to have a sense of security and safety. And this Parsha is one of the things that speaks to that in a profound way.